it's time that we've got it upside down, or bottom side up again, to go in and give the last coat of weave-filled epoxy with the pigment paste added to it, a good sanding to get a nice buffed up edge, because it's been more than 3 days. It's been a month or so since it's been upside down, probably closer to 5 or 6 weeks maybe. So now it's time to give it a good buff out, dull it down, give it some roughness so that the two-part epoxy primer can adhere to it and give us good tooth. For the next process, we'll be putting on some linear polyethylene paint, some LEPU from System 3. It's going to be another bright white. So let me get on with the sanding of this, and we'll come back when we get to something interesting. Don't forget all the hand areas too, on the skeg here and around the edges, and then down especially on the between the trim and the rail, because you can't, it's too narrow to get a sander in there. So there's a lot of hand work you're going to have to do too, so make sure you do it. I've gotten so far along, I guess I'm going to go ahead and mix up some paint. It's early enough in the afternoon, might as well get a coat on. I got to vacuum it down and then wipe it down, and then we'll put on some two-part epoxy primer. I've got the two-part primer mixed up, and I'm letting it set. I've got about another 3 minutes on its 15-minute. They call it induction time, where it sets and I guess thinks about what it's going to be next. So onward to the hull will be the next thing we're going to do. I'm finding nothing beats a good quality brush for most of the stuff along on the trim edges. And because a lot of places the trim isn't quite tight up against the hull, it gives me a good way for the tape to roll over and kind of hide anything that might get on the wood from the inside. And once I get a good line here, then I can come along with my roller and fine tune it. I didn't mix up enough. I had 2 4s of B and 2 1s of A, and so that should have given me like 10 ounces, but it wasn't enough. I still had a little spot in here, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'll go ahead and let this cure overnight, and then I'll come back tomorrow and finish this spot, and then do the rest of it. Now we come down to that age-old conundrum: is how much do I have left? Remember we were mixing up this two-part epoxy with the 4-ounce cup and then the 1-ounce cup. I don't know how much I have left, and I'd like to get this one last thing done as once, so I may have to do some 4-ounce and 6-ounce and see if I've got 3 ounces of the hardener left. So let me come back after I solve that puzzle and the 15-minute mix, and we'll go back into finishing the prime out on the hull. I don't think I'll be putting anything on the strip between the rails and the trim, because I really heavily coated that yesterday and it looks pretty even and consistent. Now I'm just going to finish off on the bottom with as much of this as I can get on as possible. With all this white in the background, it's kind of hard to differentiate anything now. So I'll get a coat of, another good coat on the skeg here. I'm still debating on the whether I'm going to put a metal strip. I'll go to the hardware store tomorrow to see if I can find something. I probably should have fitted it in before I rounded it out. But I think a 1/2-inch wide strip on top will be fine. I think I'll maybe roll it over a little bit, so when you shove it back into the water, it'll catch that as opposed to the edge here. Getting this stuff to go on takes a little bit of arm work, especially when you're trying to get it to go as thin as possible, getting down to the dregs. should be able to get two full coats on. This first coat I mixed up, what was it, 4 and 1, so 5 ounces, and I wasn't able to get this section in here, and I got that first, so whatever I got left go up and finish out that area to give it as thick a coat as everything else. I had a little bit left in the can, but I want to save some of that for the rudder. And maybe the dagger board. There should probably be enough in there to do those. You'll notice that I'm wearing my covers so I don't have to pull that, get epoxy primer off my glasses. You get those little spots, and if you don't notice it, you get used to dust, but those little dust particles don't come off. You have to soak them off. So let me go ahead and finish this out, and we'll come back. Good or bad, it's done, and I'm happy with the results. It'd been nice to have had 2 ounces more, just to give it a really good 2 full coats. But I'm happy with what I've got, and the next thing coming up will be the LPU paint. I can see on the bottom here now that it's got the bright white, and like I've said many times before, you don't see the flaws in the hull until you get it painted, because the light and the dark and the shadows, if it's just the plain wood or even the glassed over wood with the weave fill on it, it's just subtle little things that you don't see until it jumps out at you. But I'm happy enough. Remember, we're going to look at this at 6 foot. If I see, well, I got a bad spot there, well, we don't worry about that. We're going to go and enjoy it, because after we get this back from the first time we launch it, there's going to be scratches and dings inside and out. So, hey, that's life. So, next thing coming up will be the 2-part, well, actually it's the linear polyethylene paint, which is, I'm going to cross-link it. I got a little bottle of clear cross-linker, and we'll show you how to mix that up. There'll be a little bit of water, a few drops of the cross-linker, and a certain volume of the LPU paint. And that goes on quick. I'll probably have, this will dry tomorrow. This is what, Friday? I'll try to get to it Saturday, if not Saturday, Sunday. Sunday will be spent all day putting as much LPU paint as I can get out of that quart onto the hull. I don't know whether it'll be a full 2 thick coats or 3 coats, but it goes on quick, and it's one of those things. It's nice to have a friend, but we'll get into that when we explain that part.